2019, Lexus has updated its popular RC Sports Coupe with new headlights, updated trim, and finally the head system supports Apple CarPlay and Amazon Alexa. So it's nice to see that the RC 350 and 300 have finally been brought up to date. But today the RC we're driving, yeah, it doesn't get any of those upgrades. This is the 2019 RC F. The RC F here is Lexus's answer to the BMW M4 and Mercedes Benz's AMG C63 Coupe. In fact, they are all within 1 inch of each other dimensionally, same height, width, and length. Even the horsepower figures are nearly identical. BMW puts out 425, the Mercedes Benz puts out 469, and this Lexus, it puts out 467. Of course, how they come to those power figures is totally different. You see, this engine is a V8 and a big one, 5 liters large. Compare that to the BMW, which is an inline 6 that has been twin turbocharged, and then the Mercedes, that's a small V8, only 4 liters, that has also been twin turbocharged. Of the 3 of them, this Lexus is the only one that is actually naturally aspirated. So you could say it comes by its horsepower very honestly. Now that we know that all 3 are very similar with some very important differences, let's take a closer look as to what makes this RCF special. To harness that power, Lexus has given the RCF an 8-speed automatic transmission. Yeah, sorry, no manual available. But this unit does feature Sport Shift manual override, as well as very generously sized paddle shifters. It shifts on a dime and even has several modes. I can switch it into Sport or Sport Plus, and it'll hold the revs all the way to redline. Yep, it'll hold them as long as I keep the pedal there. This transmission also has a G sensor. What that does is it'll hold the gear through a corner. When it feels lateral forces, it makes sure not to upset the driver line. Let's go ahead and try a 0 to 60. We'll completely stop here. We'll put it into Sport Plus, drive in standard, and 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, not a very good start. 40, 50, and 60. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Lexus claims low 4 seconds, which is slower than BMW's claimed high 3 seconds, likewise Mercedes. But it still, honestly, feels fast enough. Yes, I don't think anybody will complain about a near 4-second 0 to 60. That's plenty quick for pretty much any road in public. Now on the racetrack, once the power is channeled through the transmission, the car still is not done with its advanced trickery, because this also has a torque vectoring rear differential. What that does is it makes sure that it puts enough power to both wheels for optimal performance. Now, what do I mean by optimal performance? Well, it's not the same thing every single time you drive. Right now I'm driving normal, so optimal performance is tracking straight and doing what I expect. However, I can also switch this up to slalom mode and it'll shift power even quicker from side to side. Oh yeah, it kind of is like an active steering system for the rear of the car. Now there's a third setup called track, and that one will keep the car as smooth as possible in high-speed cornering. The torque vectoring rear differential is not standard. It is part of a $5,500 performance pack that includes the carbon fiber roof as well as a carbon fiber version of the rear wing. Included with the torque vectoring system is a neat little display up here in my F display, which shows the distribution from left to right. Of course, I don't really want to be looking at that while I'm driving quickly through corners, so we'll just have to assume that that's showing power go left to right. What this differential does is it transmits power to the rear outside wheel, overdriving it, helping you to corner better. It's like rear wheel steering for the vehicle, only instead of using angle, it's using torque. Lexus's F adaptive suspension system is standard on the RCF. What that does is it includes 30 levels of damping to basically give you the cornering capability that you need. In standard and eco modes, it's extra smooth, and when I switch into Sport or Sport Plus, it firms up, giving me the tightest, quickest cornering capabilities. Although I will note that it is a bit extra rough as well on the driver. Oof. Yeah. Stopping duty up front is provided by a set of 6-pot Brembos. They are huge. In the back, you get 4-pot versions. The one I would probably skip, though, is the orange paint job, which is an extra $300 on this test car. Yeah, I think black is just fine. The wheels are 19-inch hand-polished units. They look really nice, and they are wrapped in Michelin Pilot Super Sports. Now, these are summer tires, and if you do a lot of burnouts, you will wear through them very quickly. Just keep in mind, it's $1,000 to replace just the tires. So burn out responsibly. But Lexus knows you don't always want to be shouting at the top of your voice. Sometimes you want to drive like a normal human. And in those cases, you can just switch the car into eco and you can drive it like a regular car. In fact, this is a good time to enjoy the 835 watt, I kid you not, Mark Levinson audio system. It is a rather expensive option, and it comes with the upgraded navigation. The sound system with 17 speakers is amazing. The navigation system would have been great for 1998. However, here in 2018, it is seriously out of date and it needs to be revised. I mean, when people even like Acura have new systems that are way better, you know you need to play catch up. Let's talk about price. The RCF starts at around $65,000, but you don't get a lot for that. This model here has been upgraded with the premium sound and navigation system, and it also, of course, has that performance pack. Add in all of the stuff, including the $300 for the painted calipers, and you're looking at $82,000. That's a lot of money. And if you're gonna spend that much money, do you really want this car? I mean, look at it. The design is really nice. I mean, this interior design is good, but the materials aren't exactly up to 2018 luxury coupe standards. I mean, this little piece of plastic here, it's kind of cheap. And yeah, we have carbon fiber in places, but it can't mask the fact that this is looking kind of dated. I mean, if you put this side to side with a Lexus from 10 years ago, you wouldn't see that much improvement. Whereas BMW, Mercedes, and even Audi have constantly outdone themselves with every generation. This one is squarely stuck in the past, and not just the interior, the engine. It's a 5-liter V8, and yeah, you can get 25, 26 miles to the gallon on the highway with it, but the other cars, they do better and make more power. If you want a C63 AMG and the 469 horsepower isn't quite enough, well, they make an S model that puts out over 500, so you have even higher end options. This one, no, this is as good as it gets. If you want to go above this, you have to go to the LC500, which I like a lot, but I still don't like that nav system. I still don't like this touch interface, and those cheap plastics keep looking right at me.
From a practical perspective, the RCF does have a trunk. Though at only 10.1 cubic feet, it is one of the smallest in the class. There is no spare tire either back here. It is a fix-a-flat situation. As for the second row, you can fit a human back there, but only if you don't plan to ever speak to them again, because you won't be on talking terms after making them sit back there. These are second row seats for insurance purposes only.
So, who is this car for? Probably Somebody single, well-to-do, wants luxury, probably doesn't take the car to track days, although it is capable to do it. I mean, it has adaptive suspension, it has that track-oriented rear differential, and it has a Sport Plus mode that really, helps you get around. But I don't really see this car as that type of a driver. I mean, it's 4,000 pounds. That's not light. You would go through brake pads so quickly on this car. And then let's talk about the electronics. The gauge cluster I really like, but it doesn't have that cool LFA slidey thing that you get with the LC500. I think that's just a trick cool thing that makes me feel like the car is next level. This one, it's a little more traditional. It's still a full digital display, and I do love that the tach is front and center, just with a little tiny speedo in the bottom right. But I still feel like it's a little out of date, Cool. This is kind of like that hero that you had a decade ago, and you meet your hero and you're like, hey, he's a pretty good guy. I like hanging around with him. He's still pretty awesome. But this other dude, yeah, he's killing it. This one's not. This one's heading towards retirement. True. And as though you need any more proof, yeah, the handbrake, no, it's a foot brake, like straight out of a Toyota Tacoma. Yeah. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching my review of the 2019 Lexus RC F. It is an expensive car that is really fun to drive, very unique in the product offerings currently available, and I love driving it. I just would have trouble recommending it because I honestly think that the Mercedes and the BMW are better choices. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, and we'll see you next time. I'm gonna go driving. Woo.